Welcome to the Blonde Runner podcast with Coach Laura Erickson, where she shares her healthy living tips as a running and triathlon coach and mother of 4.
Hello, Coach Laura here, and I wanted to talk about the benefits of having your form checked, your running form, either getting I call it running form feedback, or having an evaluation done. So I think it's really valuable to have feedback from a coach. It's important to get a coach that can obviously communicate well with you and has some experience. That really helps a lot. There are different types of running form analysis that you can have done. A lot of them are done on the treadmill. I prefer to do it outside. I think that your running form changes on a treadmill, so I think it's important to actually do it where you're most likely going to be racing. So most of the time that's a road for most of the people that I work with. So I do also give feedback on trails and how to run up hills and downhills and all that stuff as well. But the basic running form, there are a lot of benefits to having it done. I think the biggest one would be preventing injuries. Injuries and setbacks can be very frustrating for people, and I see a lot of people with injury. Even if you have an injury, if you're able to still move, a lot of times people maybe have plantar fasciitis or something's happening that I can give you some feedback on what you're doing, and that can help a lot. So that's probably number one, is preventing injury is the reason you want to have a running form feedback or evaluation done. The next one is it will identify inefficiencies in your running. If we can identify things that you're not doing well, we can help you run easier by lining things up better, having you be more efficient with your running. The less efficient you are, the more wear and tear you have on your body, the more fatigue that you're getting, the more damage that you're causing your body. So running can be hard on the body. A lot of people, if they just change a few things about their form, can make it a lot better for their body. So if you're having a lot of back pain a lot, that usually has to do with poor running form. So being able to identify some of the problems or bad habits is very valuable. So that's another good reason to have running form done. Another one is to learn proper drills. There are a lot of drills that help you develop muscular movement that will help you run better. So I usually go through all those and tell you some things that will help you depending on what you're training for. I do usually make it very specific. When I work with people, I do it individually, and I also have small group classes in my area. I do online as well, with you taking video and sending it to me. So I can give you that feedback. You can get on your way to doing better and hopefully getting rid of some of those bad habits. Other things I usually identify is muscular imbalance. So if we can identify that, maybe where are some areas that you're tight or you're weak, or do you have hip drop, or do we have issues that we need to fix? So maybe you're not having an injury now, but if you have some of these problems, you may be going towards an injury. And if you've had a lot of injuries or you keep getting reoccurring injuries, that's another reason to get somebody to look at your form. And we can fix those things. A lot of it is, I usually recommend some strength training with everybody I'm working with. I'll emphasize different things with each person depending on what I'm seeing. But if they do have a lot of imbalance, if we can identify that, figure it out, have them doing strengthening, so when they're running, it's going to be, better, obviously. If you think about it, how many steps do you run in a mile? It's like, I think I've looked it up. The average is like 1,500, I believe. It depends, I guess, on how tall you are and things like that. Think about 26.2 miles, a marathon. That's like 40,000 steps. And if you're running inefficiently, maybe you don't have enough reach with your leg, you don't have the gait that you need, you're not getting the stride that you could get, then you're wasting a lot of energy. And after that many steps, that's going to make a big difference on your run. So, and if you're running a lot of miles every week, think about how many steps you're taking. And if you're running inefficiently, that's going to slow you down. It's going to be a lot of wasted energy. But think about how much faster you'll get if you do make those changes. So the most I've seen someone improve from running form for me was within 10 days. I had girl. She was a taller girl. She wasn't really getting the full benefit of her height, and we changed some things in her running, and she improved her 5K by a full minute, which is quite a bit. If you're considering, that's like 20 seconds a mile. That's a lot. So that's the only thing she changed. She hadn't really changed her training yet. One of the things I do with this analysis as well is I usually give you some things that you can do in your training, because this is usually a single session. So, but I like to give you tips, like what do you need to be doing in your training? Here's some, training, should you be doing tempo runs? Should you be doing like pyramid workouts? Should you be doing more track workout, more speed workouts? Maybe you need more long, slow distance. Maybe you need to throw in some trail running. And part of it just depends on what you're training for as well. But I think it really helps to have feedback, and that way you feel confident in your changes too. So sometimes you'll make changes and you don't feel very confident. And so, another thing is it's motivating. I think sometimes people think, well, I was born slow, so I'm just always going to be slow. That's not true. Maybe you're a slower runner per se now, but I really think that almost anyone can become a really good long distance runner. It just takes some time working on your body's movement patterns. And so you can learn that. And a lot of times the strengthening things that I have people doing, all of a sudden they'll start getting a lot better and better and better. So you're not just necessarily born with it. It's something that you can improve on. And I think that's really motivating to know that, hey, if I work on some things, I will get faster. I've had somebody, like I said before, about they actually made improvement 3 minutes. I said 1, but it's 1 minute per mile. So that's actually a lot more than what I said. So, but she was really tall. That helps a lot when you have a proper lean. But either way, I think this is really valuable for you to have. And so I do offer these all year round, even in the winter. If we can find a spot that isn't slick, then I can give you feedback on your form. So I do have a running form class coming up fairly soon, and I do have them periodically through the year. I always offer individual form. It takes about 35 minutes to do the analysis. If you do a class, it's about an hour. We do it with, it's a little less expensive, but we do it with a group of people. So if you're interested in that, just message me and I'm happy to give you more information about that. And I'd love to work with you. If you need any other information, you can always check my social media handles and I'll tell you all about those in this next little clip. Anyway, good luck to you and live well.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. Be sure and check the show notes for resources or links that we mentioned in the show. You can also find them on my website at blonderunner.com. blonderunner.com. You can also find me on Instagram at TheBlondeRunner with an E and Coach Laura Erickson, and that's Lora. Before you forget, I hope that you will follow this podcast and like it so you don't miss an episode. Also, it really helps if you leave a review so other people can find it, and share it with your friends. Until next time, live well.